All right. Hi guys, welcome to this one. This is going to be an instructional video, sort of, I guess, a demonstrational video. I'm going to demonstrate how I would go about doing a typical tarot reading at present. I have sort of employed a new methodology recently, and that's the one I'm going to show you. Previously, I've been doing it in all sorts of ways, but this is how I do it nowadays. So first of all, of course, we need to shuffle up the cards. Aside from that, we need someone to read for. In this case, I don't have anyone here. I don't have a querent, a client. I have myself, however, so I'll have to use myself. And yeah, that happens every now and then. I usually tend to just ignore those unless they pop all the way out of the deck. So since this is just a demonstration, we don't really need to be too thorough. Now, before I even sort of start the reading, I'll ask a person about their personality traits, their qualities, their characteristics, in order to ascertain a significator for them. Otherwise, you might also just use a zodiac sign, right? Which it's going to be anyway, in some sense. So for me, I'm a Virgo sun, so that would be the King of Pentacles. That is the significator, depending on which decan that the sun is in. In my case, it's the first one, so that would be King of Pentacles. If it is the third one, it actually belongs to the next chord card, the chord card of Libra, that covers the last decan of Virgo and the first two of Libra. So each chord card covers 3 decans total, 3 10-degree portions of the zodiac, and they cover 2 of, say, their own sign, right? And then the last of the previous sign. So what I would do, first of all, is cut the deck. Let's see, get it in the frame here. Cut the deck once, and then cut both of these piles again, like this. So you get 4 packs, and these represent the 4 elements and the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, Yod, He, Vav, He, which is kind of the same thing in a sense. So the first pack here on the right would be the Yod pack, and then it's He, the first He, primal He, Vav, and final He over here. And that would be fire, water, air, earth, right? So you would go through these. Maybe you have an inkling about where you're going to find the card, the significator card, and you could start looking there, or you can just go systematically, so it wasn't there in the Yod pack. Let's see if it's here. We're looking for the King of Pentacles. Nope. Vow pack. And nope. So that makes perfect sense. Here he is, King of Pentacles. He looks like this. I'm using the Tarot of Pagan Cats here because they're a little bit slimmer, so I can actually get more cards in the frame. Is sort of the reason why I'm using these. I also have a mini version of them I considered using, but I think this will do. So this here, there's only 2 cards. This happened the last time I was doing one of these as well, or trying to. There's only 2 cards in front of him. We need 3 because we need 7 total, 3 on either side. So we're going to go to the back, pull that up to the front, treat the pack as a loop, right, as a circuit, so that whatever is in the back is also in front of the card in the front, right? Because if you cut the cards, right, that's what's going to happen. that card at the back is going to end up in the front, right? So that's how that works. Now you can put the other packs aside, and we're going to pull out 7 cards here, and we could put this aside as well. Sometimes I look through these, for extra sort of information clues. But otherwise, you do 3 on either side. It does depend a little bit. This is, it does, according to Aleister Crowley, it depends a little bit on what kind of card you're using for the significator. If it's a court card, though, not a princess or a page, as they're called in the Rider-Waite. Let's see if I can actually almost get them all in the frame here. It'll have to do. Right, so you lay them out like this, and then you read in pairs from the center, from the significator card. You don't really read the significator card because it's the significator card, right? So you read the pairs, and you could think of it as past, the different directions as past and future. I don't really think about it like that because I tend to not do, chronological style readings. You might say I don't really consider time as a factor in readings. I just consider it like a snapshot of the here and now. Excuse me. So I said it makes sense that we find him in this pack because that was the Hey Final pack, right? Which is the earth element, which is practical matters, material matters, money, assets. But also this is a practical demonstration. So it sort of makes sense, right? That we would find him in that pack because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm practically demonstrating how to do a tarot reading. And let's look at what do we have here? We have the World plus the 6 of Pentacles. So we got more Pentacles. We also got a Pentacle card over here, the 10 of Pentacles. So the World is, I don't want to get too technical, I guess. I don't want to pack this video with too much information, basically. But suffice to say that the World card is the planetary trump of Saturn, as well as the elemental trump of Earth. So we got more Earth, lots of Earth energy in this spread and in these cards. We got a bit of cups over here. So water and earth, basically. It's all water and earth here. So this card actually has significations of service, being of service as well. Usually you hear about how it's, conclusions, endings, things coming to, coming full circle, stuff like that. But it's also related to the idea of being of service to the world, right? Or just in general, being of service. And then the 6 of Pentacles, sort of like bringing together, right? The 6s are all about bringing stuff together, harmonizing the flow of sort of in and out. It's not a static thing. It's more like a dynamic, bringing together, harmonizing, And again, we've got the Pentacles, so we're in the realm of Earth. So it's the Lord of Material Success. So I take that as a good sign that this video is going to be a good video. Hopefully you think so too. If you do, I'm not going to say it. But there's things you can do to show that. Let's leave it at that. Now, 4 of Cups, King of Cups, is exactly emotionally the tone. It's sort of, they're lodged in between, also in these positions in between the inner and outer cards. It's a thing, like, this is the Lord of blended pleasure, first of all. Blended pleasure, right? So it sort of mirrors how I'm feeling right now. I want to sort of stop the video right now. I'm not going to lie to you, because I'm not at all satisfied with how this is going. Just so you know, I'm a Virgo, right? I'm a fucking perfectionist. This is the Virgo card, right? This is my significator. I'm a freaking perfectionist. So anything less than absolutely perfect is not good enough for me. And that these two cards in combination sort of show that. And again, I'm not going to go into all of the details of why that is, but yeah. Then fortunately on the outside, which I take to mean, because I kind of think of it more like inside and outside. So this is like closest to me. These cards sort of describe the immediate environment, you might say, the immediate psychological environment of me, which is this, I'm trying to be of service and show you guys how to do something, right? How to bring this together. And this is sort of in between, right? This is, so this is more emotions. In this case, they're cups cards related to, water and emotions and, but let's just leave it at that. Then we got the 10 of Pentacles combined with the 9 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups is the Lord of material happiness. The 10 of Pentacles is the Lord of wealth. So, and that's on the outside. So I think in this context, I would interpret that as you guys out there actually liking this a lot more than I do. Or liking it more than I feel like you should, because I'm such a perfectionist. So I'm not satisfied with any, effort that I'm putting in, even though it might be going really well, and it might, turn out to be really successful for all I know. That remains to be seen, of course, as I'm filming this. But yeah, and this is basically it. We're basically done here. This is how I do it, right? And then, of course, like I said, there are other packs. Now I've put it all together, back together here, the rest of the deck. But what you could do also is keep the other packs, right? In case the person you're reading for, whether it's yourself or someone else, has other questions that pertains to other areas of life, then you might look for a different significator. Coincidentally, this would be, the King of Cups would actually be one more of my significators astrologically, going by the big three, as they're called, which is your ascendant, sun, and moon, right? So this would be my moon significator. And this would be my sun significator. And the Queen of Wands would be my ascendant significator. And you could basically do significators for any placement in the natal chart. You can also do significators for somewhere where there isn't any placements. That's also possible, because everyone has the whole zodiac in their charts. Everyone, it's going to cover some house, the zodiac sign, and you could think of it as a developmental cycle, right? You could be anywhere in that cycle, even if you don't have natal placements at that point. So, for example, I don't have anything in Taurus. That doesn't mean I couldn't use a Taurus card as a significator if that sort of energy was pertinent to the question on my mind, right? So, and you can also go deeper into details. Like I said, I'm not going to do that too much here. I'm just going to mention that each court card, like I said, covers 3 decans, and each decan has a small card associated with it. So you can actually sort of get really specific if you can tune into like a really specific, like the 5 of Pentacles, let's say, for someone who has material worries. They're worried about money, they're poverty stricken, or they got laid off or whatever. You could tune into that specific idea. You could use the court card still that covers that, or you can use the small card. You can also use major arcana cards as significators, although I rarely do that. But think about if someone has like a really big question that pertains to one of those, one of those symbolic areas of life, or steps on the journey, however you prefer to think of it. All right, we just hit 15 minutes, I see. So I think we're going to let that be that. I'm going to put this out there and we're going to see what happens. Like I said, I'm not very satisfied with this. I feel like I could be way more organized and I could, I could even like write a script and stuff. I haven't done that, in case you're wondering. This is all just impromptu, spontaneous, because I'm an Aries rising. So I do like to do that. I do like to have that freedom to just feel like, oh, hey, I'm going to make a video now. And then I just do it without a second thought. So anyway, it irks my Virgo side a bit, though, because the Virgo is much more, by nature, much more organized. So anyway, that's sort of a tension within my natal configuration. Let's let that be that. Let me know what you guys think. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.